Welcome into the top 5 on your Wednesday. Let's get into the top 5 things you might not have noticed. Brought to you by Texas Beef House. I'm Paul Catalina, and the promo code is 365 Sports. I shouldn't have to tell you every day. I'm happy to, but come on. I do it for the new people, not for the returners. But new people who now return because you can't get enough of, this huge slice of beef here. They don't sell me at Texas Beef House, I'll tell you that. 365 Sports, go to bidonbeef.com, get some of the best farm-raised Wagyu beef that you can possibly find. This is top 5 things you may not have noticed. Number 5, the ACC is setting up to be chaotic. Miami is good. Clemson is good. Pittsburgh is good. Louisville's good. SMU's good. Virginia is kind of good. Virginia Tech's not bad. Boston College is good. As a matter of fact, 3 of the teams that are usually good, Florida State, NC State, and North Carolina, suck. They're awful. But almost everybody else in the league is pretty good. It's ridiculous. It's absolute madness, and we're at the halfway point, and this thing could get really ugly if they start sniping each other. Pittsburgh's way better than a lot of us ever imagined they could be. Clemson has found their offense again, mostly because Dabo got out of Garrett Riley's way. Miami has a superstar quarterback and great talent all over the field. Boston College is really well coached. Thomas Castellanos is really fun to watch. And again, Virginia's 4-2. Tony Elliott's system starting to take hold there. Kyron Drones is a really fun player to watch at Virginia Tech. I could go on and on and on about the ACC, but really setting up to be quite chaotic. We talk about the Big 12 all the time. The ACC is very, very similar. Number 4, Notre Dame can score now. Early in the year, everybody kind of questioned after the Northern Illinois loss and the struggle they had against A&M where neither team scored that much. Like, what is Mike Denbrock doing? Is he really running a system that is favorable to Riley Leonard? Well, now he is. If you watch the Stanford game, they just scored and scored and scored and scored on the Cardinal. Now, can Riley Leonard throw them to a win if somebody stops the run and doubles down and dares him to throw? I think the play-action game for Mike Denbrock will be there, but it remains to be seen how good Notre Dame can be on offense when they play somebody who can actually stop the run. Because when they have played teams that actually stop the run, like A&M and Northern Illinois, they almost lost, but since then, they've gone along pretty well and scored a bunch of points. But can Riley Leonard throw them to a win? That's a big question, but they can score now. Number 3, LSU is figuring it out. They already had a really good offense. Garrett Nussmeier's really coming into his own. I would say right now, draft-eligible quarterbacks, he's in my top 5 or 6. He's playing great. He's just making great decisions. He's bringing his team back. He's keeping his team in the game. Outside of their one loss, like where they just didn't look together, this is a team that now has figured it out on offense. They've got some sort of running game, although it wasn't too much of a factor against Ole Miss. And they're figuring it out on defense, even though their secondary is not a classic LSU secondary. Blaine Baker has kind of started to play to their strengths a lot more. They're getting after the quarterback also. Mason Taylor on offense, not a factor for 3 quarters the other night, but guess what? You can't keep him down that long. He's a huge reason why they won that game. Also, Kyron Lacey, the latest in the line of badass LSU receivers, and you saw that on his winning catch the other night. That was right out of the Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson manual right there. Number 2, Iowa can also score now. They've scored 38, 40 points, 42 points in a game this year. Now, are they lighting it up against really good teams? But no, they scored 40 points on Washington this week, which to me is pretty impressive. So if you go, revert back at least closer to the mean, that's still a team with a great defense that can score more points than it did. Kirk Ferentz might be kicking himself a little bit for not moving past Brian Ferentz before, because Tim Lester has got that offense at least moving into a place where they can win games for them, as opposed to they had to win in spite of the offense. They can now maybe even win because of it. Although, when they played Ohio State 2 weeks ago, they did not score. They scored 7 points. But if you're going to not have to play 16, 13 games over and over and over again, that makes Iowa really, really dangerous. And number 1, BYU and Iowa State are not going away. Right now, these are the two best coached teams in the Big 12. Iowa State is exactly what Matt Campbell wants them to be, and BYU is exactly what Kalani Sitake wants them to be. They are tough. They don't get frazzled. They just stick it to you. They are fun to watch, and they can beat you comfortably. They're not flying by the seat of their pants. They are in control from first quarter to fourth quarter in most games, or when it comes to the fourth quarter, they've definitely asserted their dominance on you. And BYU was picked towards the bottom of the conference. Iowa State was picked towards the upper middle. And both these teams are dominating the league right now in ways that none of us expected. They are not going away. And right now, I don't want to get in a stadium anywhere near these two because they are going to beat you up. You're going to walk, you may walk in, you're limping out when you play Iowa State and BYU. That's for sure. That's the top 5. It's time to go home. We'll give you a formal goodbye shortly.